This video will demonstrate how the HDR Hero Lightroom presets work. The set includes two different components. There are 100 one-click presets that are intended to be used for quick results and just one-click effects, and then there's also stackable workflow presets that give you more flexibility and allow you to create a really customized look that will work right with just about any photo, and that will take you just a minute or two to get the look that you want with the workflow presets. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate both here. I'll start with the one-click presets. There are 100 different one-click presets. I'm not going to go through them all, but I will show the basics of them here. So the first 8 in the set are your basic standard HDR effects in different strengths. So the first one is mild, just gives you a very subtle HDR effect, and then moderate, which is a little bit stronger. We've got the stronger HDR, and then there's a bold version of stronger, which is just uses deeper blacks to give you a bold look. And there's very strong, then there's the bold version of very strong, and there's max HDR, and then a bold version of max HDR. So here you can see the before, and there's the max HDR bold after. Okay, then there are also plenty of other varieties of different effects here. There are some other options for photos that have pretty dull colors. They'll give a big boost in vibrance and saturation to really bring out the colors of the photo. If your photo already has pretty strong colors, these presets are probably going to be too much, but in cases where your photos are a little bit dull or lacking colors, they can be good options. They are the Color Blast HDR 1 and 2, and then also Over the Top 1 and 2. So again, with a lot of photos, these are going to be too strong, but when you're looking for a strong effect or when your photo really lacks color, they can be good options. And moving down a little bit, we've got a few that also will boost blue skies in your photo. Obviously they're best for outdoor photos, and one thing that you need to note is they need a little bit of blue in the sky to work with. If the sky is just washed out, if it's white or gray and there's no blue in the sky, then Lightroom doesn't really have any blue to work with. So you'll need a photo that has some blue in the sky in order for it to work. So for example, in this photo, the sky is mostly gray and overcast. So if we use the blue skies presets, it will bring out a little bit of blue in the sky, but not very much. If we use a different photo, okay, so this one has some blue in the sky, it's just not very strong. So then if we apply the blue skies HDR presets, you can see that it really brings out the blue in the sky. And we've also got some for boosting autumn colors, which is like your reds, oranges, yellows. There are some cinematic presets. There's one example. And there's a lot of other different color options. We get into some faded colors and desaturated colors, and then we get into the black and whites. So I'm going to move back over to this photo, and we'll go through the black and whites, and it's kind of the same situations with the colors. You've got different variances in strength. So we start with the mild, and go to moderate, stronger, then a bold version of stronger, very strong, bold version, max, and then the bold. And then there's also 2 silver presets, which is these work better with dark photos that need to be lightened. We've got some high contrast, grainy, some other options, some tones like for example the sepia tone. Okay, so that demonstrates the one-click presets, very simple to use. And they'll give you an HDR type of look that you can either use as is, or you could use the one-click presets as a starting point and then tweak the settings as needed. Now for the workflow presets, they are in different sections. There are 10 different sections, and each preset will only impact the settings of a particular section. So you can really experiment and quickly see what works best with your photo. So the best way to demonstrate it is just to go through the process with a sample photo. So this was a photo taken at sunrise. So the sky was very bright, very light, and then below the horizon everything is pretty much in deep shadow. So I want to really improve this photo, so we're going to go through. We'll start with the first section of the presets is for tone base. So I'm just going to click through these different tone bases to see which one works the best. So these just increase the strength of the HDR effect. Then we've got some bold tones. And I think I'm going to go with this one. It's called Bold Tones 2. So that one gives us a good base to start with, and we'll move on to the next section, which is exposure. You can increase exposure at the top. I don't think I want to increase the exposure, so I might want to decrease it a little bit, just see how these work. I think I'll do the slight decrease. Move on to clarity. And so as you're clicking these presets, for example, nothing that I click in this clarity section is going to impact the exposure. So you can mix and match and experiment without impacting the other presets that you've already chosen. So for the clarity boost, I'm just going to pick the one that works best. I'll go with this one, which gives it a slight clarity boost but not too strong. And same thing with the contrast. I don't want a real strong contrast boost, so I'm just going to start in the middle, work down. You can even decrease contrast if you'd like. And we'll go with a small contrast boost. Okay, then we'll move on. The next section is for vibrance and saturation. So again, the strong ones are going to be too strong with most photos. Then you can even get down here into some desaturated colors, and even convert it to black and white with the last preset there. So I want to boost the colors a little bit. I think I'm going to go with this one, which will bring out some of the colors of the sunrise. And then we'll go to the warming and cooling section. There is a light version and a strong version for cooling, and then the same thing for a warming filter. So I'm going to use the light warming preset. That works well with the sunrise. And there's a section for sharpening. There's 3 different strengths here for sharpening. It's going to be hard to see the difference in the videos. I'm just going to use the light sharpening preset. And same thing with noise reduction. There are 3 different strengths here. Again, this will probably be difficult to see the effects in the video. I'm just using the light noise reduction. And you can, the next section, you can apply lens correction, remove chromatic aberration. And then the last section is for a vignette. If you like, you can add a light vignette or increasingly strong vignettes. I'll go with a very light one there. Okay, so you can see that pretty quickly you can take a photo from the before to a customized HDR look with just a relatively small number of clicks and in just a minute or 2. So then if you want to go back and continue to experiment a little bit, you can. So for example, in this photo, if I wanted to go back and adjust the exposure but I didn't want to impact any of the other settings, I can simply do that by going back to the exposure section, and now I can increase or decrease exposure without impacting any of the other settings that were used with the other presets. And you can do that with the other sections as well. Just keep experimenting to get the look that you want. So that demonstrates how to use the HDR Hero Lightroom presets. Thank you for watching.